Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear, driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear, like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun, running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running.
Welcome everyone, I am One True Brick, coming at you with another LEGO Exo-Force review, one of the last. Today we are going to be doing a special overview of 2008, which included 7 sets, 8 if you count my review of the Jungle Thrasher. However, this set was never officially released in any capacity. And the sets, we have a much smaller range because there are fewer of them and we only got 1 wave instead of 2. Usually we have a bulkier wave at the end with a couple of special edition sets, and a $30, a $50, and either a $90 or $100 large set. But this year, because we just got 1 wave, the range was instead $8 to $30. Make sure to stick around till the end for my recommendations, although because there are much fewer sets, the ranges are going to be a little bit different. And I just want to start off by saying this was a wonderful final wave for Exo-Force. I think that the Golden City had its faults. It had some really good sets. It had some kind of bland sets. But overall, with maybe the exception of the Storm Lasher, I would say every single one of these sets really brings about a level of creativity that is kind of the pinnacle of Exo-Force. And while there are some sets here and there that I really did like, I would say this particular year had some of the strongest small sets. The Assault Tiger, Chameleon Hunter, the Dark Panther, and both of the smaller sets really brought about unique new designs. They had tons of parts, tons of great colors, a great theming. I really appreciate how they are all based off of animals and really bring a feeling of that animal to each. The Assault Tiger definitely feels like a bulky sort of tiger-like creature. The Chameleon Hunter is slim and green and feels like it would be able to scale a tree very quickly. The Dark Panther looks very much like a panther, minus maybe the spikes on the back. Arachnoid Stalker totally looks like a spider, and probably, in my opinion, would be the best version of any spider ever created in Exo-Force. I think they really nailed it with this final version. River Dragon is a solid set, even if it is a little bit more boring than the rest. Even the Hybrid Rescue Tank and Storm Lasher really are amazing looking. The Hybrid Rescue Tank, well, doesn't really have an animal theming to it, is a really great upgrade to the Mobile Defense Tank. And the Storm Lasher, despite my complaints about its build being rather bland and boring, really does look quite cool and amazing in comparison to the previous iterations of the Sonic series. So I don't have a ton to say beyond that about the sets themselves. I would like to discuss a little bit more about what I wish 2008 could have been. Even though this first wave was amazing, I think, of course, everyone wishes that we had gotten a proper ending to the series and maybe a few more sets. If I had had my way, I would have had a total of 3 more sets. We can skip the special edition sets. It's really not necessary. It would have been nice to have the Jungle Thrasher be included in this first wave if we had had just enough of the finances to make it happen, if I had been running LEGO and had decided to continue it, but we needed to still cut corners. I would have said, skip the special editions, keep this guy, and make 3 more sets. That being a $30 set for Hitami, somehow based off of a bird-like creature, perhaps an eagle for her set, a $50 Mecha 1 bipedal battle machine, potentially based off a gorilla, and then an $80, $90, or $100 large set that would have been the deep jungle kind of base set, maybe including a tree, a cage that Sensei Kiken is trapped in, and maybe a few robot battle machines, just something to add to the playability, kind of a play set, large jungle base set. As for the story to be included within this, I'm just going to give a very brief description because I don't want to spoil it. I do have a dream of one day being able to turn this into a final comic book or animation, something along those lines, so I'm not going to go too far in depth in fear of spoiling that, but just a very general description. I imagine the human team, the four main members of the human team, fighting off the robots within the deep jungle at the base of the Sentai Mountain, managing to rescue Sensei Kiken, and then making the shocking discovery that Mecha 1 isn't there. They had discovered plans for being able to destroy Mecha 1, but unfortunately, they can't find him. So, they realize that Mecha 1 is actually at the very top of Sentai Mountain. He has developed some sort of strange weapon that will completely obliterate humanity from the face of Sentai Mountain and perhaps the face of the Earth. And so, the humans have no hope of reaching him in time. So what do? They call up the only one person that has a chance of making it in time. That person being Hitami, who is still in the Golden City running the Exo-Force's base. Rio reveals that he has been working on a prototype battle machine for her, an upgrade to the Blazing Falcon, something based off of a bird-like design that I just described, that would be made into a $30 set. And she has to rush to the top of the mountain alone to fight him. When she arrives, she discovers that Mecha 1, seemingly realizing that he has a chance to fail, has brought an even more powerful battle machine with him. The most powerful, large battle machine that has ever been created to stand on 2 feet. Something that even towers above the Striking Venom and the Bridgewalker. Something absolutely terrifying. A giant, bulky, over-armored, bipedal battle machine. Something that would be based off of, I think, a gorilla, but perhaps something else. And the two of them do battle. When this battle is completed, somehow the humans manage to win, saving the entire mountain and returning to the peace that once was. Now, as for how they go about doing that, I won't get into the details of, because I have some plot twists and ideas in mind for what I could create as a story, so I'll just leave it at that. But this story really encompasses what I wanted in an ending. A great giant battle between the four main members and a giant army of robots. Something that would make the Striking Venom battle feel even smaller scale. Something that's even greater in scale to that, with a whole fighting battle, just everything. Both teams throwing everything they have at each other in the deep jungle, followed by an even greater battle between two fantastically large mechs at the very top of the mountain, with the sunlight shining down on them, the snow on top of the mountain. Just a great setting for an amazing fight with just incredible choreographing. Just an amazing battle at the top of the mountain, followed by, of course, a conclusion that resolves the story that's been continuing for 3 years. And as for how that happens, well, you will just have to keep watching my channel and continue looking at the Exo-Force wiki, because at some point, it might be a year from now, it might be 6 months, it might be 5 years before I can create a story that wraps it up, but I plan on doing it. And finally, yeah, that pretty much wraps up the story that I wish would have happened, and the sets that I wish we had had. But even if I hadn't got my dream, I wish that at least one more set would have included Mecha One, and at least one more set would have included Hitami in it, because I think both of them really should have been included in at least one more set, considering the final year really was a showdown between Mecha One and the rest of the team, and Hitami really had become a main character at that point, and unfortunately didn't get another battle machine. It would have been really nice, but what are you going to do? So with that, I want to give my recommendations for what sets you should buy. If you are, not super into Exo-Force, but really like this year and kind of want to buy maybe one or two sets, my top picks for if you're on a budget are the Chameleon Hunter and Dark Panther. Both of them are really solid sets. Great picks for if you want to have just a scene with two battle machines fighting. Alternatively, you could get the River Dragon and Arachnoid Stalker if you're even poorer, but my personal picks for if you're on a budget is these two options. If you are a more intermediate person, you want maybe another set or two, the next choice that I would pick is the Hybrid Rescue Tank. The Hybrid Rescue Tank is a fantastic medium-sized set. LEGO really knocked it out of the park with $30 sets. I think every single $30 set that's been released across Exo-Force's lineup, that kind of medium-sized, either large battle machine or kind of small vehicle set, the Gate Assault set, the Aero Booster, the Golden Guardian, the Hybrid Rescue Tank, and Mobile Defense Tank, all of them are really solid sets, and you can't go wrong with getting any of them, honestly. And finally, because of the real lack of options here, aside from these three sets, all including Devastators, there really isn't one set that you can't go without dropping a character. So if you want a full roster, you pretty much got to buy everything except for the Jungle Thrasher, which wasn't an official release. And then, of course, if you really want to consider yourself a hardcore fan of Exo-Force and get everything, this set, adding this last 8th set to the bunch, really solidifies your love for the series. And with that, that's pretty much all I've got for this particular wave. I think it was a great final wave to finish off on. I just wish at the very least we would have gotten another comic or another book kind of wrapping up the story. Even if we hadn't gotten a final wave, just something to finish off the story. And yeah, we can dream. Maybe I can make those dreams become a reality. But with that, this is nearly the 12th anniversary of Exo-Force's ending, and like 14th of when it actually came out. So with that, I will see you guys next week. I will be doing one final video where I will be looking over every single Exo-Force set, all 5 waves, everything from the 2006 Stealth Hunter all the way to the end with this wave, and giving my recommendations for which sets you should buy, what my thoughts on the series are, what my thoughts on the story are, etc. So be sure to stay tuned for that, and also check out my other channel where I will be doing the book series. And I'm making the videos a little bit in advance, don't mean to date it, but I should have the final 5th book wrapped up at this time. So if you go over and check my channel, hopefully everything's up and there. So I will see you guys next week. Bye! The Sonic Phantom was designed by Yukio, Takeshi's father, who at the time was probably the most well-renowned